and the lack of a clear, mutually accepted border remains a constant source of friction. Generations have grown up in the shadow of conflict, making reconciliation a daunting challenge. The stakes in this conflict are incredibly high, not just for Ethiopia and Eritrea, but for the entire Horn of Africa and even global interests. The region is a vital gateway for international shipping through the Red Sea, and any instability here could disrupt trade routes that connect Africa, the Middle East, and beyond. Regional leaders are scrambling to address security concerns, knowing that the consequences of escalation could be felt far and wide. These rising tensions threaten to disrupt not only trade, but also migration and security across the region. Border closures and increased military presence have already made life more difficult for ordinary people, from traders trying to move goods to migrants seeking safety. Security forces are on high alert, inspecting vehicles and monitoring movement, as fears of violence and instability grow. To truly understand this crisis, we must look at the long and complicated history between Ethiopia and Eritrea, the repeated failures of peace efforts, and the tangled web of alliances that shape the region. Past agreements have often been fragile, breaking down under the weight of mistrust and competing interests. Regional alliances shift frequently, making it difficult to build lasting peace. As the situation escalates, the urgency for a peaceful resolution grows ever more critical. The international community is calling for dialogue and restraint, but the path forward remains uncertain. Only through sustained diplomatic efforts and genuine commitment to peace can the Horn of Africa hope to break the cycle of conflict and build a more stable future for its people. Ethiopia and Eritrea's relationship has been shaped by decades of conflict, shifting alliances, and deep-rooted territorial disputes. The two nations, once bound together under a single flag, have experienced a turbulent history marked by war, mistrust, and a struggle for identity. Their shared past is filled with moments of both cooperation and confrontation, but it is the legacy of conflict that has left the deepest scars on both societies. When Eritrea gained independence in 1993, it was a moment of celebration for Eritreans, but it also marked a turning point for Ethiopia. Suddenly, Ethiopia found itself without direct access to the sea, becoming landlocked overnight. This loss of access to vital ports along the Red Sea not only hurt Ethiopia's economy, but also fueled a sense of grievance and insecurity that would simmer for years. The question of port access became a central issue in the relationship between the two countries, setting the stage for future disputes. Tensions erupted into open conflict in 1998, when a border dispute over the small but symbolic town of Badme escalated into a full-scale war. The fighting was brutal and relentless, lasting until 2000, and resulting in the deaths of tens of thousands of soldiers and civilians on both sides. The war devastated communities, tore families apart, and left a legacy of bitterness and loss that still lingers today. The border war was not just about territory, it was about national pride, historical grievances, and the struggle for recognition. Even after a ceasefire was declared, the wounds of war remained fresh. Issues like border demarcation, the fate of disputed territories, and deep-seated mutual distrust continued to haunt both nations. Diplomatic efforts to resolve these disputes often stalled,